Hey guys, how you doing? Right here again. If you'd like to subscribe, it's Nitro Kyosho. Also remember to follow me on Facebook, Nitro Kyosho, all one word. We'll bring you to the community page. Well, I want to do a build review, guys, on my new Sab Goblin 380 from Helidirect. And I thought it would be kind of fun, instead of just doing a boring video telling you how everything went together, to do kind of a cool video and show you some of the changes and comparisons to the 500 model, to give you an idea of how they're built and the different changes. Alright, this is basically done, guys. I'm waiting on a 24 tooth pinion coming from Helidirect, and I have the rudder rod fully done. That's just got to be installed. The B-Stex is set up, the servos, everything is working. Motor, soldering, everything. A couple of wires need to be tied up. So, some of the quick tips I'll give you on that, guys. When I assembled it, on the top here I used 2 shims. On the bottom I also used 2 shims, okay? And it seemed to go together pretty nice and tight, not over tight. Little tip there. Another little kind of goofy tip: whenever you build one of these, if you don't know, if you've never built one of these helicopters, please make sure that the tail belt is on properly. Make sure when you spin these main blades that the tail is spinning counterclockwise, okay? If it's not spinning counterclockwise, you have to reverse the belt. Look through there with a flashlight and make sure the belt isn't twisted, okay? But make sure that's on properly. Because what will happen, you will go to spool this up, you will get no torque reaction because they will both be spinning the same way, and it's going to spin out. And if it's on concrete, you could actually spin it out and damage your blade. You could actually damage a lot of stuff. So please make sure that belt is on properly. When you do the canopy, I've got the canopy back here. These holes that are in the canopy that you got to put in, they're not that size. It comes with 2 little pilot holes, guys, okay? Make sure you do what the manual says. Get a dial caliper, set it to 10 millimeters. Get yourself a body reamer, okay? And lock your setting on your dial caliper and make sure you use the reamer carefully. Open the hole, measure, open the hole, measure. Don't try to do it all at once. You don't want them too big, okay? Because then you'll obviously ruin it. So Sab's manuals are dead on when it comes to assembling things, the rudder rod and the canopy information, okay? With these, they came with the big hole already. You just put the grommet in. Also, I put a little spit on the grommet and they go right on. But please follow the manual on that. 10 millimeters, set your caliper, ream it slowly. Get it to 10 dead on, measure it, and you'll be perfect, guys. Okay, one cool thing I like also on this, the tail servo bracket is not integrated into the frame like the original 500. They followed suit of the 570. So in a crash or any kind of an incident, that'll definitely save you some money there and some headaches if it gets damaged. So, other than that, guys, the build took about 7 hours. It was a pleasure to build. Anybody who's built one of these knows. Okay. Sab manuals are definitely the best out there. Okay. Showing you how to do everything. You're not going to find a better manual in any helicopter kit, period. Okay. So, other than that, I'm going to take that off of the pod and let's go over some of the differences, alright? And I think that would be kind of more cool than just sitting here talking about putting screws and nuts in for 10 minutes. I'll try not to shake and make anybody out there dizzy. Get this camera in my hand. Alright, let's start out with the motor mount, guys. On this one you have 2 screws on each side of the plate in the front, you just have your one screw back there. There's no spring, and there's also no spring in the back going in to the frame. On this one you have 2 screws here in the back, and then you have 2 in the front. Okay, so you're actually here you still have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it kind of equals out. I don't think they felt the need to have this kind of a setup. Not as much torque and power. So that's the way they designed that. Servo layout is similar. I don't like the servos, the plastic brackets they gave. There's a lot of flex in there. They're coming out with the aftermarket aluminum ones, which I think should have been provided in the kit. This helicopter came originally with carbon fiber that there was really nothing wrong with. They worked pretty good. But I chose to go with the aluminum. Basically, what else can we talk about here? The battery tray system is similar with the lock kind of deal on the side there. Now this helicopter has a little bit different design here. Okay, here you've got actually a 2-part transmission. You got the top bracket here and the bottom. On this one you only have the 1 bracket set up there. Okay, the motor pulley setup is a little bit different. You have actually a gear up here, and then you have an actual pinion. Okay, like you'd find on like a kind of a T-Rex with a main gear and a pinion type deal. Okay, but still different than a T-Rex. So you have your let me see if I can get under there for you guys. So up under here, alright, up on the top there is where you have your one-way pulley. Okay, and then the belt underneath like that, and then you have your pinion on the motor. On this setup here, guys, you have the belt going right onto the one-way. Alright, and then obviously there's no pinion because I didn't put a pinion in there, but you can see the difference. Okay, there's no gear and pinion set up on this helicopter. It's a totally different setup. Alright, so once again, you got the steel pinion, okay, and the main gear there. This one you don't have that setup. Okay. What else can we talk about here? Still got basically, you know, your same tail belt setup. Servos basically, for the most part, in the same spot. On this machine they chose to put the elevator is in the front. Alright, and this one it's in the back, like a standard helicopter setup. Okay, this one actually had the screw in for the canopy locks. Okay, this one is a little bit different. It actually has the screws that come out, and then you have these little wheels that screw on there. A little bit different of a setup. Okay. For the most part, your flybar unit's going to mount in the same spot. Alright. Skid design is obviously different. Chose to go with the speed setup here. They are releasing a set of skids that look like that, so if you want that kind of a style, you can put it on. I'm up in the air with that right now. The tail boxes are a little bit different. They chose to use the aluminum on this, which they did also on the 570 and the on-up models. Same basic setup as far as the screws and how the tail box locks in. This one actually has like a cage setup all around it. So that is a little bit different. This has the carbon fiber side. The setups as far as the tail box, the rudder and everything set up is basically, I would say, the same. Alright, Alright, both going into metal. Alright, the pitch slider, it's actually going to be moving. Alright, this is a separate piece actually. It's not part of this, so that's another nice little setup they did. And like I said, both belt driven obviously. But the main changes, guys, is the belt is going directly onto the one-way here, where here you actually have, you know, this is completely missing on this helicopter, and also you don't have the double transmission design, the top and the bottom. So obviously there are some extreme differences, guys, between these, and that's why I thought you should see this. It's kind of you know, a cool, interesting thing for anybody who either has both of these or has one of them and wanted to know. What else can we talk about? Back to the 380 a little bit. I chose to go with the X-Nova motor. Once again, BK servos all around. Had good luck with BKs. I got them on the 570 also. So far pretty fast, pretty good servo. Hats off to Bert Camomere for those. What else can we talk about here, guys? The wiring setup, very easy. Like I said, I got to do a little bit of tying up on some wires, but a very clean setup as far as wiring this guy. Like I said, you know, a couple of things here to tie up here and there, but mostly nothing major. I chose to use the Castle 90 sitting down there. Alright, it's sit down in there very comfortably. I got some Velcro, and I've got one zip tie, and then I put some heat shrink tube over the wire that's actually going down to the B-stacks for the throttle, just to protect it. Okay, but the Castle 90 fit in there nice. One reason I didn't want a Castle 100 light, guys, is because I feel you really need a heat sink on that. Okay, I would not want to run other speed controls underneath there. Didn't really think about that at first, but it makes sense unless you're going to mount it on the outside. There is a hole under the canopy, so there should get some good airflow going through there. But I was kind of a little leery. I did that on the other model, had a Castle 100, and I don't know, I just hope that that doesn't create any heat issues, or when you're flying out in hot weather, if that gives the Castle any problems, because most of the time they said, Castle says you want a 5 mile/hour plus airflow over those things, and with the big hulking canopies, I don't know if you're going to get that airflow enough in there to keep that thing cool under extreme conditions and heat. So be aware of that, guys. And other than that, oh, another thing, I'm gonna try running this thing, guys. I've got my little cable under there. Alright, you can see it hanging out. There's enough room in here to put a 2-cell. So I'm going to actually buy a 1300 milliamp 2-cell Thunder Power battery, put that in there, and I disconnected the BEC, and I'm going to run a receiver battery like I do on my 570, 700 T-Rex, and 570 Goblin. So that's another little thing. You have the option if you want to run a receiver battery. There's plenty of room to pop one right in there, guys. If I can show you some of the room in there, but I'd say anything bigger than that might be a tight fit. The build was just like the other Goblin builds, pretty simple build, great manuals, everything goes together perfect. It took me about 7 hours to put this one together. It's about my 6th Goblin, I think, that I've built. And as far as the boom, still has the breakaway system. You can see the nylon bolt in there. It has the integrated kind of lock of the flybar unit mount actually is in the shape of the nut, so it goes over the nut and keeps the nut from spinning loose. Other than that, what else can we talk about here? Another light machine. It is fairly light. I run the Thunder Power batteries, which are pretty light batteries anyways. They're saying, I know Kyle Stacy was recommending, the manual says 1500 to 2600. He was saying, Kyle Stacy, great pilot, for Sab was saying he felt 1800 was the sweet spot. So probably a pretty accurate, you know, on his account there. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. So I'm probably going to try out a battery in that range. You don't want to make the machine too heavy. Anyways, guys, rudder rods are inside the booms. And that's pretty much the changes. The head designs are basically the same. I can show you in there quick. Just everything smaller, but same basic design. Obviously the 500's a beefier setup. It has the main screw there and then the two there. This has the main screw going through there. Alright, and then these are basically going through, but there's not that kind of triple locking system there. But like I said, I don't think you need it. It's a smaller, less powerful machine. So, but other than that, guys, those are the differences. I won't tie you up any longer. I just thought it would be kind of cool to do that along with the review and the build. Thanks again to Helidirect for these great goblins. And if you got any questions, shoot me a line, guys. Thanks for watching.